If I asked you to think of 3 or 4 compact sport utilities off the top of your head, which ones would you mention?
Zach, I'd probably have to say the Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Chevy Equinox, and the Ford Escape. I think those are probably the most popular ones and definitely the vehicles that people are comparing when they're out shopping.
All right, now sort of like the second tier down would be vehicles like the Hyundai Santa Fe, maybe the Mazda CX-7 and the Mitsubishi Outlander. They're not always top of mind, but they definitely should be considered when you're shopping.
It is true that most people gravitate toward the usual suspects, but if you dig a little bit deeper, there are some great products out there, like this 2010 Mitsubishi Outlander. This new 2010 is a bold-looking vehicle. The shark-like nose found on the Lancer, especially the Evolution version, has made its way into this Ute, making it less cute and more macho.
This is a unique looking front end. You see, manufacturers have a problem because all SUVs share the exact same box shape. There's nothing you can do about the basic design. The only thing you can do is to dress up the front end to make your vehicle look different from the others. So with the Mitsubishi, the Outlander, definitely mission accomplished. The base model comes with front-wheel drive, but all the other models are offered with four-wheel drive. The base is called ES, then the middle trim is LS, and this top model is called XLS. The XLS has a unique four-wheel drive system from all the others called Super All-Wheel Control, which allows more control over all driving situations. More on that in a moment. By the way, this XLS comes with 18-inch wheels, all the others get 16-inch wheels.
The Outlander is unique in this segment because of its rear liftgate design. Now, it does have a liftgate that opens just like every other vehicle in this segment, but it also has this tailgate that actually folds down flat. So it makes it a lot easier to load things in and out of, and it can also be used as a seat. Now, there are a couple of things about the Outlander that we'd like to point out that are really kind of silly. There's a compact stowable third row of seats on all but the base model. These are barely seats at all, really a metal frame just wrapped in cloth. They act more like a hammock than a proper seat. The room for the third seat is also very tiny. The good news is that there's no extra charge for these seats. We wouldn't pay a cent more for them. Then there's the flimsy cover for the third row hinge that's already broken off and it needs to be replaced. The good news is that most Canadians will look at this utility for what it should be, and that's a two-row vehicle with storage.
Okay, I mean the front seat of the Outlander now, if you're getting the $25,000 base unit or probably the most popular mid-range $28,000 unit, the front seat is quite passable. But in this $34,000 top model, take away the leather seats, there's really not much going on up here. It's really quite simple. The materials are fine, but it doesn't go wow. There's no wow factor at all. The class leader, in my opinion, right now is that new Chevy Equinox. You get in that vehicle, $34,000, $35,000, like bam. Now that's a classy looking and well-finished interior. My main complaint about this particular model is the large navigation radio interface screen here. It's nice to have it, but it's positioned and on an angle, you get a lot of reflection and glare, especially in bright sunlight. It makes it very hard to read. Maybe the way to go is to get the cheaper base radio. It might actually be easier to read. The base radio does come with an auxiliary jack. Other standard features include height adjustable driver's seat, heated front seats, air conditioning, leather steering wheel and shift knob. Leather is optional, as is navigation, and an upgraded Rockford Fosgate stereo.
Even though the Outlander is offered with either a 4-cylinder or a V6 engine, I have a feeling that most Canadians are going to opt for the middle LS version. It's the 4-cylinder with all-wheel drive, and it starts at just under $28,000. The 2.4-liter engine is a carryover from the 2009 model with 168 horsepower. Power is close to many competitors, but it isn't class-leading. The continuously variable transmission is a unique feature on this Outlander. It gives it pretty decent fuel mileage at 9.9 liters per 100K in the city and 7.8 on the highway. Now that's very similar to the Nissan Rogue, which also has a CVT. What I like about the Outlander is that it drives more like a car rather than an SUV. My only one small complaint is that it's hard to find a really comfortable driving position because the steering wheel tilts, but it doesn't telescope.
Now, most Canadians, when they buy a compact crossover, they opt for the 4-cylinder because we're a sensible bunch and we're concerned about fuel consumption and price. But if you're looking at an Outlander, know that it's available with a V6 on the middle and top trim level. And it's a beautiful engine. It has been reprogrammed and tuned to produce more horsepower. It's got 230 horsepower under the right foot. So if you're not concerned about fuel consumption, this is the Outlander to get. The good thing about the V6 is it comes with a conventional 6-speed automatic for more precise shifting and acceleration. The V6 models also get paddle shifters behind the wheel. Now, you might remember earlier I mentioned that this top model XLS gets a different four-wheel drive system than the rest of the Outlanders. It's based on the Evolution, the Lancer Evolution system. It's not exactly the same, but it has the unique ability to not only shift torque front to back, but also to shift it side to side on the front axle. What that does is it gives you optimal handling, not just increased traction. Now, the rest of the Outlanders have what's called a on-demand system. So when the front wheels start to sense slip, it then shifts power to the rear wheels. Well, it's nice to get back in the Outlander after a couple of years because the last time I drove this vehicle, I was really impressed. I actually spent a couple hours driving along the highway and I was thrilled with the V6 engine. This one has even more power. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's refined, it's all of those things. I really did enjoy it. Now, one thing about the third row of seats, this isn't a 3-row vehicle, it's 2 rows with a little seat for your pet dog.
The Mitsubishi Outlander is competitively priced, and one thing that really stands out about it is the amazing 5-year, 100,000-kilometer warranty. But Zach, the big question is, do you think that this Outlander should be considered amongst the most popular vehicles in this class?
Well, I think the warranty you mentioned is bringing people into Mitsubishi dealers because sales of this Outlander keep going up month after month. So I think it is starting to be cross-shopped with a lot of people. The thing is, this vehicle, if you get the V6, it's a beautiful highway car. It's smooth, it's quiet. You add in that new all-wheel drive system, it's more dynamic to drive. And the last one, we're actually sitting on it, is the Tailgate. I actually like this, and I've had a vehicle that had it, and it became very practical. We used to change my oldest son Jack on it when he was a baby because it was a very nice little change table there. On the downside, that radio I touched on, I wouldn't get that Navi. I don't like Navi anyway in cars. I just rather have a little tom-tom. It's too much glare and reflection. And the dash overall is just a little bit humdrum, nothing spectacular about it. What do you think about this vehicle?
Well, Zach, I really love the exterior styling. I think they've done a great job of making it look much more aggressive and sporty. And I agree with you about the rear hatch design, the tailgate that we're sitting on. It's a fantastic feature and definitely makes it easier to load things in and out of. Now, Zach also mentioned that this is a great highway car. It's also very maneuverable, so I really enjoyed driving it in the city. And my dislikes are all about the seats. With the heated seats, I actually couldn't find the switch in the beginning to turn them on and off. They're located right beside the seat, so it's actually in an awkward place to get. And we found that sometimes it was too hot or not enough, so very inconsistent. And the third row of seats are completely useless. They're uncomfortable, they're hard to get up and down. We complained about it in the last generation, and I'm not really sure why they didn't change anything about it. And that second row of seats, I've got to be honest, they're really easy to fold down and forward. However, getting them back up again in the seated position is physically very challenging.
You know, the third row of seats, if you get the mid or upper end vehicle, they're included, so you're not paying for them, you know?
Thank goodness.
Why is Mitsubishi such a small player in Canada? Find out in this web-only segment at drivingtelevision.com.